Hey, so this is Increase. I got a quick question for you. Was Scrooge and even the Grinch wrong about Christmas? Let's talk about it.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year.
So, for years, I've been called the Grinch by family and friends, whatever. Sometimes even been called Scrooge. But I began to think about this earlier today, and I just want to see what you guys think about it. So, according to the story, Scrooge was a wealthy guy, prosperous business, but he was very, they would say, greedy. He was very frugal, if you will. The problem is that that's always how they present the story. And then, through some events, they find themselves he being visited by some spirits, and he has this quote change of heart. But I think we should dive a little bit deeper into that. Was it really that he hated the holiday, or did he hate how people treated the holiday? For instance, in the story, excuse me, we oftentimes see Scrooge, and they have these people who work for him. Um, he's a very nice guy, but he's like, listen, I don't care anything about the holiday. It's cold, so what? Don't cut the heat on. Boom, keep working. He also looks at those in his immediate life, his nephew. He's like, yo, you're trying to celebrate this holiday season, but what do you really have to celebrate? And that's where my mind began to run, because I began to think about how many people go into debt, go into a state of depression during this holiday season. So think about it like this. I don't think that he truly had an issue with the holiday itself, but I think he had an issue with how can you celebrate and go into debt over one day as if tomorrow your bills aren't going to be due. Throughout the story, when you watch it, he oftentimes keeps telling people, you have this debt and you want to go and party. You have this debt and you want to go and purchase these gifts. Yes, these are nice things of gesture, but you don't have your affairs in order. And it got me to really thinking about it, because on this podcast, right, we talk about finances. We really get down to the nitty-gritty of things. I don't do like other podcasts and get into the technicalities of things, but I truly try to get into the heart of the matter, which is patterns, which is behaviors, which is discipline. Because you can have the great plan, but if you're not disciplined in your own personal finances, if you're not disciplined in your way of thinking, then as soon as things begin to go well, you're going to slip right back into the same space, the same place that you once was in. And I think when you begin to look at that story, I want you to kind of think about that. What was Scrooge truly trying to share with the audience that we kept overlooking? I think the story of Scrooge really painted the picture of commercialism and how we should cast all of our affairs to the wind and give into our commercial spirit, if you will. Scrooge was a person who was truly about not just his money, but about his business. I think that when you look at it, he was being responsible, and for whatever reason, the people around him wasn't as responsible. They looked at things as in, well, I just get it on credit. And so they found themselves falling prey to their own self will, if or just their inability to tell themselves no. So let me share something with you guys. So in my younger years, I did the payday loans. I did the title loans to my car. I've done the rent a center, you know, purchasing a television or whatever, because hey, I don't have the money fully to go out and purchase it all outright. So I'll just rent to own. And even in the rent to own, because my mindset wasn't in a place to understand money, to understand business, and how to handle that, I found myself getting into situations where I wasn't able to pay it, and then they came and got it. And so this holiday season, we know that this is a time where people get very sad because not just the holidays, but winter. It's cold. You don't want to go out, you know, all of these different things. And so when you look at that, and then you couple it with the fact that you're not at a place where you want to be, you're not, maybe the relationship that you have is not, to the best. It truly puts you in a emotional place where you just want to do something to feel good. And because you guys are a part of my Increase podcast family, we already know better. We already have mapped out and planned out this holiday season well in advance. And so this is just something for your family and friends to really begin to tighten the reins so that their 2025 can be perfect, be popping, be prosperous. So when you look at Scrooge, the story of Scrooge, I don't think it's that he didn't want to help, but he also understood that a person who is poor, it's not in having not having money is the reason why you're poor. It's the mindset. If your mind is on survival mode, it's on a mission of, I'm just gonna spend it because it's here. I can't take it with me. Then of course you're gonna always perpetually robbing Peter to pay Paul. So then we look at the story of the Grinch, which is one of my most absolute favorite Christmas stories, next to Grandma got ran over by a reindeer. Long story, not even gonna go there. That's for a different video. But even with the with the Grinch, excuse me, when you look at the story of the Grinch, it wasn't the holiday, it was the people. Whether you look at the original cartoon, you look at Jim Carrey's version, or this newer version of the Grinch, you really have to look at it and go, what was the common theme among all of it? They understood the Grinch story shares everything was about gifts. It was about putting on airs. It was about, I'm getting all of this stuff for people that I'm supposed to say I love, but then I know that they're not going to really appreciate it, but it always looks good that I went out and purchased them something, even though I know they're going to throw it away, even though I know that what I purchase is cheap, even though I know the very thing that I'm buying, they've been asking for all year long or whatever. And so now I'm going to get it for them to really not appreciate it, or they're going to appreciate it, but it's going to set me back so far. It's going to take me a whole year to recuperate from this one day. And I think that's crazy. That's madness. That is madness. And it's not until the end of the story, they're like this calming, overwhelming sense of Christmas spirit, and people begin to come together and begin to sing and all of this other stuff, and then he comes and brings back the gifts. But I believe that the Grinch was necessary because they needed a mental reset. Until he had taken the gifts, until he had taken all the food and all of this other stuff, that they really began to pay attention to what Christmas, what the holiday season was truly about. And I believe that even in our society today, we've truly lost sight not only of the holiday, but what it is to be a community. That we should care for one another, volunteer as much as we can, not just because it is supposed to be seen for this particular season, but because it's decent and right to do. That there are people who truly have fallen on hard times, not because of their spending, but because of the economy, because they lost their job, or there are so many people who are homeless that have a job. They're working. They have two jobs, but the housing market is so expensive that they can't even provide for themselves somewhere to live. And so we shouldn't look down on them, but lend a helping hand to bring them to a greater place. And so I'm beginning to just think about, because again, we're in this holiday season, this is December, it's really cold. And I begin to just think about the two figures that is oftentimes perpetuated during this holiday season, Scrooge and the Grinch, and see what lessons we can learn from them. Not just the focus on the real reason for the season, but how, if we don't plan carefully and be studious and a good steward over what God has given us, that we ourselves will fall prey to those same that same narrative, those same tactics that has been used over and over and over again. You have to look at things like how we view commercials, and right, and like you already eaten, and then all of a sudden there's a commercial come on, and there's this juicy hamburger that you already know when you go to the drive-through, it's never going to look like that. But the commercial makes it so succulent and make it look so delicious, and it's almost like you can smell, the beef patty and the fresh fries, and they're seasoned to perfection. Even though when you go there, you already know it's not going to be that way. But you keep seeing that image over and over and over again to the point where it makes you hungry, even though you've already eaten. And I believe that that's the same way, even in this holiday season, that we begin to be inundated with so many commercials and so much, oh, I need. And the truth of the matter is that oftentimes you don't. And so if you come into this holiday season and you're undisciplined, you're going to find yourself going into debt again. I share this before, and I'll share it again, and you're going to hear me say this quite often, is that credit cards is the premier thing to use over your debit card, because your debit card can be hit with fraud and it can wipe out your bank account and you can never get your money back. But if your credit card is hit with fraud, then you just cancel the card, they send you another one, because none of your money from your bank has been taken out. Nothing from your savings, your 401k, your investments have been stripped, and therefore you're able to stop any kind of fraud activity on your account. And it's the same way even in this holiday season and holiday seasons to come, is that we have to be very mature. We have to be very on purpose about what it is that we want to do. Going into the holiday season knowing this is the amount of money that I have. These are the things that I want to do. And because I didn't fully prepare, or things came up and I'm not able to do it, then it doesn't mean that you're less than, because now you're not able to purchase gifts, or you're not able to fly to where the rest of the family is, but you can celebrate them right here, right now. And so you have to treat the holiday season, if you can't travel, just like you would if, we were during the pandemic. And so you would have to sit down and do a FaceTime or Zoom or whatever to show your family, hey, I'm still here. We still love you. We're just not financially able to come at this time. But next year or whenever we can, we're definitely going to try to make a trip, and, to show our faces and to, give hugs and kisses and everything like that. But don't ever feel like you should be guilt tripped into purchasing gifts or doing things just because you're in the holiday season. You really and truly need to prioritize yourself and prioritize your business. That business is making sure that no matter what the holiday is, no matter what time of the month, that you're able to pay your bills, that you're able to provide yourself with food, that you're able to have transportation. Because when the holiday season is over, you still got to live. You still have to live. And so I wanted to encourage you that they may call you a Scrooge, or they may call you, the Grinch. But if I'm going to be Scrooge, you can at least say, I took what was given to me and I multiplied that. And I'm able to be financially be at a place where I can, if I want to, But just because you feel like I'm financially at a place to give to you or to do for you, and I don't want to, doesn't make me any less than of a person. The choice is still mine to do. Or you may just hate the holiday season altogether. It's not that you hate the people, but it's or the season, but it's that how people perpetuate it, how people view and value this season. Holiday seasons can be very vicious in families. It can be very vicious in relationships. And so oftentimes people put on this holiday season, if you really love me, then you will do X, Y, and Z. And that's not the case. And that's not fair. That's not fair to you because you're not able to, or that you're financially at a place where you're like, listen, I don't believe in the hype no more. I'm not believing in the amount of money I spend correlates to the amount of love that I have for you or the amount of respect I have for you. I've worked in those corporate spaces where they bought gifts for family, for bosses and for coworkers, and they couldn't stand them throughout the entire year. But then the holiday season comes and they're buying gift cards and they're making little baskets for them and they're buying all these gifts. And I'm like, if this was not the holiday season, you wouldn't even buy them lunch just May, but now you're buying them Starbucks gift cards and Target gift cards and their favorite restaurant. Like that's very weird. If you're gonna be honest with anybody, be honest with yourself and where you are. Take hold of your financial positioning, take hold of your mental space and your mental health, and just say, listen, I'm gonna do what I can, but I'm not gonna overextend myself any longer. I'm not going to allow the title of Scrooge or the Grinch to dampen who I am. We're all growing, we're all maturing. And because of that, that means changes must take place. This holiday season, this is your invitation to establish boundaries. Not boundaries just for other people, even boundaries for yourself. In your financial plan that you have, make sure that you are writing in those holiday seasons exactly what it is that you will and will not do. Where you've allotted a certain amount of money or you've allotted none, and be okay with that. Set that boundary for yourself. That even when you go around family or friends and or coworkers or whomever, and they're doing whatever they want to do, that you have that resolve within yourself. I don't have to play into the mind games that everybody else is. That I'm comfortable being who I am. I'm comfortable with doing what I'm doing, and no one can push or pull me out of that. You owe it to yourself to go into your next year not with the stress of, well, I did this because, but you went into your next year going, hey, this is my new normal. Because the next 5, next 10, the next 20 years, I want to be at a place where I can travel and do what I want. I can go to the store and purchase what I want, or I can help whomever I so desire. You maybe want to start a business. You may want to do whatever, you know, have a family of your own. And so that takes not only finances, but it also takes planning. And so if you're struggling with discipline, this is one of the greatest times to do it. Start small. I always say that the first step is always the small steps. Just take a step. And from there, watch how everything else begins to line up. Because if you can discipline yourself in these little small steps, then the greater, bigger steps is not even that hard to do. I hope this helps. If it does, please comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this. Help me. As a matter of fact, comment, some things that we can also place within this podcast. I truly want to make sure that this is a atmosphere where we grow together, we learn together. I'm changing things around because I want to see how things flow. What my audience like? What do you guys like? What do you not like? What do you like short videos or longer videos, or you want me to expound on one thing or another? Whatever the case may be, I'm open to suggestions. And then please share it. You never know how many people are going from check to check and they really just need some simple steps. The influencers on social media tell you, take whatever amount of money and get an LLC and start a business, but they don't never share with you that sometimes your hobby shouldn't be your business. Or that it's okay to take a break from people and kind of get yourself together because your social battery has been drained for so long and you just been on autopilot. And so you may need to take a break or whatever the case may be. I just want to let you know I appreciate you. Thank you for watching this Increase podcast. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Peace.